Hello, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, it's the last part of our best of 2022. My voice actually went out at the end of the episode, so I had to re-record some stuff to save the recording. That's how we do it here on the show. Welcome to Shallow Cinema.
So now to the movies, starting with our number 5 worst. Well, for me, we'll start with Nemo because mine only have 4. You know what? No, I'll take one of my disappointments.
I have a huge list of worst movies.
This was hard for me because there was at least 2 movies from disappointed to worst where I debated which one they belonged in and really questioned, was I disappointed or is this the worst movie? So my disappointment list just got shorter. Now it's only 4.
Okay.
I'm moving the bottom. The number 5 disappointment is moving into
Number 5,
the worst category.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Oh, ooh.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll take number 5 worst.
Okay.
Jurassic World Dominion. But this was one that fluctuated from disappointed to worst because I had a genuine disappointment with. Now I was entertained, which to a degree, like that's all you can ask of a movie, right? So that's why I was like, maybe it's not the worst because it entertained me for the 2.5 hours that it ran. But there's so much stuff in it that bothered me or that was dumb. And then as I looked back on it, I also questioned, why did you do that? As a filmmaker and storyteller, why did you do this? Or the whole movie seemed to actually hang on, we got the legacy cast back, and almost that was all they felt they needed to do. And there's from there, the movie just kind of ran on autopilot. And I know, because we've discussed it off air, but also this is a movie about dinosaurs, right? I didn't come to see a giant locust movie.
You do have dinosaurs in your dinosaur park, right? Hello? I really hate that, man.
I will say Jeff Goldblum
Killed it.
Maybe one of the only actors in the movie who understood the assignment and also knew we're making a dumb movie.
So let me I'm going to cut you off really quickly.
No, go ahead, because this is when I knew that we'd have maybe a debate over.
You're going to be surprised. Dominion is my number 1 disappointment. The longer I've had to think about it, I still haven't watched the extended version, which is shocking because.
But you know everything they added.
Yeah, I love Jurassic Park. You had so much that you could have done, and you fumbled it. I like the locust plot. You didn't do enough with it. I like the characters. You didn't do enough with them. It's like you had too much, too little. And the biggest problem I have is I didn't like Fallen Kingdom.
I don't think anybody does.
There's parts that I do like about it, and there's parts that I hate about it. You spent too much time fixing your mistakes of Fallen Kingdom that you forgot to make a new movie. But then you decided to just seclude it on an island again.
I was gonna say, here's my biggest thing with it, and because we're not doing full reviews, I'm not gonna delve into every plot hole and stupid thing they did. All I wanted to see, almost from the end of Jurassic World, where it's clear you're gonna make more of these, because I liked Jurassic World even for what it was. Again, go back and find my old Watch Talk Repeat episode. Yeah. I give it praise because it just decided we're just going to be a monster movie.
I love Jurassic World.
Because also, what else can you do? You're not going to make Jurassic Park again. So lean into the monster movie thing. Fine. Fallen Kingdom had some good ideas, but there's also 2 separate movies.
I mean, they treated it as this is the culmination of all the Jurassic Park movies together.
That's the disappointment part of.
But it's no, you didn't.
This is the end of some saga, and it's doesn't feel like any. Nothing special here.
You threw in 1 Easter egg of Jurassic Park 3. You had the 2 T-Rexes from Jurassic Park 2 at the end.
The worst thing is I think, not everybody, because you wanted to see the locust. And I would be fine with the locust too, to a degree, but
I wouldn't say I wanted to see it.
That's
not it should have been built up better.
This isn't called Locust World.
Yeah.
And from the end of Fallen Kingdom, if anything Fallen Kingdom promised us was dinosaurs are in the world.
Yeah.
You titled this whole trilogy Jurassic World, so it should be what you're building to, right?
Where's the world?
And instead, we're seeing some TikTok clips of dinosaurs out there, and then otherwise we're just and
we're done.
Now we're here to this, and then we're going to this island, again,
I think my biggest disappointment overall
like
was
show
the
me
treatment of the Giganotosaurus. It didn't do anything.
but it
Why?
was a new dinosaur and it had a
What?
big name.
Why did they make him like seem like such a big villain?
Wait, what's Salad Fingers' name?
Oh, that's the Therizinosaurus.
I'm still gonna call him Salad Fingers.
That's fair. This Giga being like the big bad guy when all it does is sleep, steal some food, then gets fucking stabbed.
And again, and you're right too. Of they didn't know what to do with the legacy cast,
and the,
and they had to write a contrived way to get the two casts together.
but then the biggest thing is you
They also
have
didn't know what to do with the Jurassic World cast.
no.
And
But
to be fair, it seemed like Jurassic World cast didn't really want to be there.
the biggest thing though is they're like, oh, we gotta have a big villain for this one. You have your villain that has had years of hate on it. Bring back the fucking Spinosaurus. Just bring it back.
Nope, we're gonna bring something only Jurassic Park nerds will fucking realize. Like Dobson, I guarantee you, the average like even if they liked the movies, probably didn't even recognize like, oh, that's the guy with the Barbasol can from the first movie. But regardless of that, it's just like this was your only shot to do this too. Like you're not going to get another chance to bring Laura Dern
Right.
and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum back again.
You might be able to get Jeff Goldblum again.
And Sam Neill for sure not, because I mean he didn't even want to do Jurassic Park 3.
He did like this one. He did have fun on set.
Which is fair. Like I've seen the interview, like he had fun. I don't think if you asked him if he liked it,
Yeah.
might be a different story. Jeff Goldblum's interview is hilarious because you can tell again, even in the interview, he's like, this is dumb, but I got to say this stuff because I'm being paid. So
he's also delivered the best lines in the movie. Just
he had my favorite line of just like Jurassic World, not a fan.
yeah,
Like wow movie.
the amount
You're that self-aware.
the amount of people going in the audience was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, so I was disappointed because I did want to have another cool, good dinosaur movie, and like, all right, Fallen Kingdom was a mess.
I think it's warranted.
You
being
set
on
up
your list of the bottom.
a world of dinosaurs, but overall, I think this was just one of the worst movies of the year.
My number 5 was Lightyear. There's honestly not a lot to say about it. It's just it didn't need to be Buzz Lightyear.
It's not a movie I saw because one, I didn't have any interest. And I even laughed when we saw Doctor Strange. I think they played a trailer for this.
You're gonna play the constant trailers.
I knew that this movie was coming and being made, but seeing the trailers, like, okay, wow, what a kind of cash grab, and like, oh, you're taking it seriously, which was weird. And then
They
to
played
find out what
Bowie
the story,
song and stuff like
to find out the story is like, it's almost like this is the Disney live action reboot of the '90s animated Buzz Lightyear, but they still just animated it.
well, no, it's not even that. At least the
I know.
90s animated has a story.
But also the weird choice of Pixar to decide to preface this movie up front by telling you this is the movie that Andy
So
saw
stupid.
that made him love Buzz Lightyear, and is like, no kid saw this
Absolutely not.
movie and fucking
Wanted
any of these toys.
No,
I don't think any kid in this world saw this movie and was like, this is my favorite movie.
absolutely not. The movie's just boring. All infinity, no beyond.
How did you feel about the reveal that Zurg is actually just Buzz Lightyear?
The
Which
fuck-
also retcons Toy Story 2 that it's his dad or something.
the Star
right?
Wars parody was better.
And this is someone, again, I don't care about Toy Story at all.
I do.
Just watching these decisions they made was like, what? Why would you do this?
Yeah, it's very dumb. It just didn't need to be Buzz Lightyear. I think like Disney was like, no one's gonna watch this if we don't name it something cool. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, if there's Strange New Worlds or Strange Worlds, maybe no one watched that either. But
Yep.
So what's your number 5 disappointment?
My number 5 disappointment was Lal Singh Shada.
Okay, now I know you pronounced that correctly, and I do not know what you're talking about.
It was the Indian remake of Forrest Gump.
And this was a disappointment for you.
It had a great trailer and it was just boring. I don't know how you make Forrest Gump boring.
Does it literally follow the exact same beats?
Not
I
everything.
assume it culturally changes things.
Yeah, it's not entirely the same, but it is. I don't know. It's just kind of boring. It was okay. Like I wanted it to be better than what it was. That's why it's not in my worst movies. It was a disappointment. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
Does it have a Tom Hanks cameo? Does he meet Forrest Gump?
No, that's actually what I was hoping for. Because it would have made sense. It would have been funny.
So I don't have a number 5 disappointment because I moved Jurassic World.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that'll take us to the best, number 5. So these got moved around a lot.
Mine too.
This was difficult, as we discussed. But the point of this list is our favorite movie. So we're not saying this was the best film that was made this year.
Yes.
Just, hey, what did we have the most fun with? What do I want to rewatch again? And mine was, and maybe it's unfair because I just saw this recently, so it's very fresh in my mind, but Violent Night with David Harbour.
Who is he? Because he's not your typical mall Santa.
Wow.
Really, really enjoyed this. It literally is Die Hard meets Home Alone, but with consequences, like what would really happen in Home Alone. And Santa Claus is real. And for the ridiculous of that concept, it makes you like immediately like, yeah, like Santa Claus is real. I'm already in on that. It's funny.
That's cool.
It never takes itself overly seriously, but the threat is real. And strangely, it kind of sets up a world where it's like, I want a sequel to this. I want to see more in this world
You ever
of David Harbour Santa Claus. And also it made me feel even worse for David Harbour of, you got dealt a raw deal with fucking Hellboy.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad to see him get a win.
Because like he kicked some serious in this, and he's got long hair, and at one point it's even tied in a ponytail. And it's like,
That's
oh,
Hellboy.
it's Hellboy.
Because he looked good as Hellboy.
Like if you had had a better Hellboy movie given to you. Yeah, Violent Night, and it is now for sure in my Christmas list of every, and I watched it on Christmas Day.
That's awesome.
And honestly, it fucking gave me the Christmas spirit.
Awesome. I'm actually really glad to hear that. That's really good because I wanted the movie to be good. My number 5. It's very hard to, like you said, to rank at these. It's kind of a sleeper movie. I actually didn't hear anybody talk about this one. It's very much an indie movie. And it hit home for me really, really well. But it was like a little horror movie called We're All Going to the World's Fair.
I am just gonna disappear. And you won't have any idea what happened to me.
I want to say like I've heard of this title, but I think it's
on
literally I've heard the
HBO.
phrase "We're all going to the World's Fair."
So internet movies or movies based on internet stuff totally suck. Stuff like what was it?
Slender.
Like Unfriended, Slender. It takes that idea and makes something actually good with it.
There's actually I find that there's a horror movie called The Selfie.
Yeah.
Where if you take
Stuff like that. Yeah.
you take 5 selfies of yourself, the selfie man comes and gets you.
The
It's a real thing.
The bye-bye, man. But
Don't say it. Don't think it.
don't say it, don't think it. But yeah, that's I don't want to talk too much about it because I just want people to actually see this one.
You say it's on HBO Max.
It is. And it might not resonate quite as much with some people. So this very much is a movie of a little girl wants to be popular on YouTube. So she is doing a challenge, but she's too awkward to know how to do a lot of this stuff. And it goes on an adventure from there.
All right.
And I think this is her breakout role. She's never been in anything.
Would you say this falls into the realm of like A24 horror?
This is true indie. Like this is before it can make it to A24.
This is I have an iPhone 14 and
I wouldn't be surprised if this is shot on an iPhone.
we're all going to the World's Fair. All right.
Yeah, it was shot in a city in New York. Kind of creepy because the opening scroll just shows a bunch of like empty parking lots and stuff. It shows a Toys R Us that I bought something in when I was in New York.
So it had a personal emotional view from the get-go.
It was just one of those things like, what the fuck?
It also sounds like they shot some of this during quarantine, maybe.
Probably. Like I said, very huge surprise.
So, to the worst, number 4. Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
Thor, come and fuck her. That was not number 1.
Your number 1 worst?
Yep.
Good for you, man. You missed on some terrible stuff. But
That's just how much I hated that movie.
Thor was the other one that fluctuated between disappointment and worst because I was excited to go see it. I really, really liked Ragnarok. It made me like Thor, who is a character that I did not care about. And coming out of Ragnarok, I was like, I fucking love Thor.
It's nuts that Taika made a best of list and a worst of list for me.
And I've seen
Twice.
some stuff and I've heard
Like,
some
he's
things.
technically in Lightyear too.
I wonder if he just didn't want to make this.
If he didn't want to make it,
Or
I feel
if
like
he
he
was-
shouldn't be allowed to make another blockbuster.
Or if he was too cocky, he's like, well, the last time we did a lot of improv, so I'm barely going to write a script this time.
He needs to stick to
And or if
like
maybe
shows.
maybe with Ragnarok, he had a lot of freedom as far as universe storytelling. Is like, as long as it ends with Thanos' ship showing up and
Right.
Asgard's destroyed,
You can do anything.
do whatever you want. This, they were probably told you have to do Lady Thor, which means Jane comes back and Jane has cancer. Because the other big issue with this movie is the tonal whiplash of these broad, often missing jokes, but broad jokes, and then scene change, and you have stage 4 cancer, and we're getting chemotherapy.
Very like that's also when it's like almost tasteless when your next movie is Black Panther, who
Well,
died of cancer.
To be fair, though, I mean that is literally the story of Lady Thor. So,
But it's just, but also giving it this comedy treatment. It's like,
but as I said, I feel like he wanted to make a just straight up comedy. I thought about this when you mentioned She-Hulk, which was a straight up comedy.
Yeah.
And it handled its tone perfectly. And even when things would get dramatic, it never took it to a place where it was not okay to make a joke.
We will eventually talk about all the Marvel movies. I have plenty more to say about Thor.
The other thing I'll say about Thor is Christian Bale also got dealt a bad hand because
Completely shafted.
he's crushing it as Gore. And what a compellingly, I don't want to say written because he didn't finish
No,
writing.
it's not designed.
But the background, the setup, wow. What motivation.
I would have liked to
it.
seen the God Killer do some God killing in this movie.
Yeah, pulled a real Moon Knight there.
Yeah.
But also Bale's in a different movie.
It's tonally completely different.
And it's not, I'm not criticizing him. He is a good part of this movie. And
he deserved the Namor treatment.
So my number 4 worst movie.
Thor
Love and Thunder
is your number 4.
I even had a spot picked out in my Blu-ray binder for Ragnarok and for Love and Thunder, and walked out of the theater going like, well, I guess I don't need that.
Guess you don't need that. I guess since you did that one, my number 4 worst is...
He's getting choked up here, folks.
Getting choked up.
This movie was real bad.
It's so sad. Uncharted.
Oh, crap!
It would probably be on these lists, but I didn't watch it because
Just don't.
I feel like it's going to be dumb. I like Tom Holland. I do like Tom Holland.
And that's the thing is I don't really like the Uncharted games. It was one of those things like, you just want to make a dude Lara Croft. Is that all this is?
I mean, I'll defend them in this. The essential premise of them, yeah, it is that, right? But the character of Nathan Drake is an interesting character. He becomes he is his own person. Okay. He's not just Lara Croft. Yeah, it is just fucking too.
No, I meant the movie. Just the movie feels like they just want to make a Lara Croft movie.
Well, I mean, they never did one of those right. So to be fair, I don't know. I never saw the Alicia Vikander one. Maybe it's okay. This movie, almost like Black Adam, this was in development hell for so long, and like this was what you ended up finally getting out. And you're kind of just watching Tom Holland be Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg be Mark Wahlberg. Like, I don't buy that they're Nathan Drake. I don't buy that that's Sully. And yeah, I am kind of a fan of, I'm a fan of the games. But even removing myself from that, I was like, this just looks super generic.
Yeah, it's very boring. It felt very much like a Disney Channel Indiana Jones.
And every action scene that I saw in the trailers, and then when I watched CinemaSins do it, so I guess I did technically see this.
Now, if you had made this movie and made Nathan Drake Nicolas Cage, it might have been actually pretty good.
You even go with your first casting where Mark Wahlberg was originally Nathan Drake. Of course, at a certain point, you could have had Nathan Fillion, who actually looks like Nathan Drake and whose clear vocal cadence is who Nathan Drake is based on. But yeah, every action scene in there too is like, to their credit, well, that's every one of those is from the game. So like, great, you're making steps.
It's
just like,
boring.
hey, do you want to see those scenes, but with more drama to them? Play the game.
Just play the game
because they didn't add anything to it here.
So yeah, big L on that one.
So moving on to disappointments then.
Disappointments.
My number 4 disappointment. Bullet Train. Brad Pitt.
I missed that one.
It is a disappointment because like still enjoyable, and maybe on a rewatch I'll even maybe like it more, but it had such a great cast and is full of cameos to the point where eventually by the end I wasn't interested in the story. I was just interested in, I wonder who this character is going to be played by, because it's clearly going to be somebody famous. And it's also from David Leitch, who is one of the original co-directors of John Wick, who also did Atomic Blonde, a movie I love. He also did Deadpool 2 and Hobbs and Shaw. So he's made bad movies. But the action in those movies is still like, okay, well,
Right.
doing that. The action in this was missing something for me.
Just, something was just off.
And I kind of wanted this Quentin Tarantino, Guy Ritchie, but over the top crime action movie. And it's kind of there, but it honestly kind of feels like a Netflix movie, if you know what I mean. Like it just feels like, which I mean, now you can watch it on HBO Max. So do that, I guess. But yeah, not bad, but like disappointed.
Just disappointed. That's a shame, honestly. So moving on. Clerks 3.
A sequel? What am I, a hack?
Oh, that's in my didn't get to it list. I have a feeling I'm not gonna love it, but
It's just,
I think I will.
you look at Clerks 1 and Clerks 2 and you're like, wow,
I know this
the
movie is
animated show is better.
deep cut. I love that you know that. I love that animated show. If you have not seen Clerks animated, go check
I think
that
I
out.
like Clerks animated more than the movies.
It's more straightforward funny. Clerks 2 actually seems to take after the cartoon a lot.
Yeah.
Clerks 3 I know is gonna be something different. And also I think it's literally Kevin Smith dealing with age.
I think that's a lot of it.
And I think being who I am and being of an age where like I was a teenager when Clerks came out.
Yep.
So I'm kind of in line with Kevin Smith. Some of it will probably work a little bit better for me where it'll be like, that hits me. But I also do think because Kevin Smith's even admitted like he does not think he's a great writer or director. But I think the dude's got passion. And that you hit or miss on the stuff he does. He's just doing it because he likes making movies.
There's one scene in particular that kind of really disappointed me. You take what this character has said in the second movie and you compare it to now, it's like he would not say this stuff.
Well, I can't wait to watch this now and find out what character you're referring to.
Yeah, you'll know.
But even without having seen it, that kind of makes total sense to me. That would be like I imagine if I'd seen it, it'd probably also be my disappointments of like, I wish it was funnier.
Yeah.
All right, so now on to the best.
Yes. What is your number 4?
Number 4. Also saw very recently, so maybe unfair. And this was hard because I was like, oh, is it because I just saw it? But Glass Onion. I really like Knives Out, although I'll say Glass Onion is a very different movie.
Good.
Still, I mean, it's still a murder mystery thing, but way more of a comedy. And I'll say this is not spoiling anything. It straight up takes place during 2020 and just leans into the pandemic. I didn't expect that.
Right.
Like people wearing like it's not just the wearing masks. Like they talk about it. It's like they've referenced tie dye, which I didn't know. I guess was a thing a lot of people did during quarantine was tie dye.
Well,
I guess I missed that.
At our job, we did that too.
So that plays into a lot of it. They tackle a Twitch streamer and the toxic culture of Twitch. Like the character, but here's
That's unexpected.
the characters, much like Knives Out, they are terrible people, right? But these are more caricatures than they are characters.
Okay.
But overall, it still was fun for me. And the mystery, Ryan Johnson psyched me out more than once where I misjudged a character, misjudged the mystery.
That's cool.
And then when he pulled it back, I was like, huh, it does go on a little bit too long. I think somewhat because he knew it's going to be on Netflix. And I think streaming movies just like, I don't think we know how to edit certain things down now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And if you like Knives Out, or if you just like the Daniel Craig character of Benoit Blanc,
Yeah.
check it out. Also, now again, it's on Netflix, so just watch it. If you didn't like Knives Out,
Do you
you
think
may
this-
still like
people will
this.
like this one?
If you hated Knives Out, you're not. I mean, if you just don't like a slightly zany murder mystery, then no, you're not gonna like this.
Okay. He's my
Actually,
voice.
Nemo, I think you will like quite a bit because there's some references that I think I only got because of you.
Oh, really?
And there's probably other ones that I missed where you're like, I know what they're talking about.
That's cool. I actually like that.
Even out of the quarantine thing, we're introduced to somebody playing Among Us. And it was like,
Okay. That's pretty funny. But also, what? Did you just say Among Us is in this movie?
yep.
All right.
And actually, Angela Lansbury's last on screen appearance, she's playing Among Us with Benoit Blanc. This isn't a spoiler, it's in the first 5 minutes.
How fitting.
I think everyone in that Zoom call that's playing with them is somehow related to murder mystery stuff.
That's cool. That's actually kind of neat. Very stupid, but neat. So my number 4 was The Black Phone.
I knew it.
Ooh, the creepiest damn thing.
I wanted to call up. I was like, I don't know. It might be higher on his list, so I don't want to spoil anything. But
Yep.
like, I knew it.
It's The Black Phone. The Black Phone, some people are hit or miss with it. For me, this was the first movie of the year for theaters that I saw. I think. I might be wrong on that.
It was earlier in the year, yeah.
It made me feel like movies are movies again.
I agree with that. And the movie on my list hit that same mark too. I think these are probably maybe the only two that were that.
Also, Ethan Hawke delivering another great performance.
I like that when he was cast in The Purge, it was how we're going to get people to watch this movie. We're going to get an actor who wouldn't normally do horror movies.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden,
He's kind of becoming
Ethan
a
Hawke is
good horror icon.
let's just do a horror movie, dude. Like, do some Sinister, do fucking Black. And again, kind of creepy. I bought him too. I was like, kid, this guy's going to kill you.
It seemed very much like it could go like the movie did at the beginning, kind of tilt. I'm like, are you going to pull like a Joker with this? I don't want to see that.
I will say Black Phone was on my list. It got knocked out by Violent Night and Glass Onion.
So that one will be one of your runner-ups.
Technically, yeah, it got pushed to that. And the only issue I had with Black Phone, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a supernatural element.
That you don't think feels like it got explained enough?
Right, because this is based on a short story. I think in the short story that probably works. And I don't need everything explained to me, but the ending left me a little bit anticlimactic of, are you going to tell me at all? Like, what? I'll put it this way. What the fuck is the Black Phone? Like,
I think that's the thing that made me like it, is like, I don't need that explained. I'm glad that you didn't explain it. I'm glad it didn't set up for a sequel.
And I do like that too. And like I said, I don't
want to see the black cell phone.
Everything explained. And sometimes I don't want things explained, but this is a perfect example. Everyone's taste is different of like, in this instance, I wanted you to tell me a little bit more about why this was working this way.
I don't know. Something about the whole movie, it just really, really did.
But it
resonated everything with me.
It is greatly acted. It is shot really well, and it is one of those movies that we don't see anymore. That is just, holy shit, this is just a movie. Like, it's just a movie to be a good movie.
This feels like an 80s movie that my parents would be like, you need to see this.
No, I agree. It doesn't have the flavor of an 80s film, but it has the
effect,
the construction of an 80s film where they were just like,
it helps the kid looks like a young Feldman.
I think it takes place in the 70s, doesn't it?
I think so.
But regardless,
no, it's 80s.
The 80s, even if they were trying to make a movie to like, we're going to sequelize this later, like, you never felt they were building a franchise. They're just like,
but
we're making a movie.
It also did make it feel like tonally the 80s. It's not this grandeur version that you get in Stranger Things that works for Stranger Things.
And it also wasn't a ripoff of Stranger Things, where we've had a lot of stuff like, oh, Stranger Things worked. Let's all make 80s nostalgia movies.
Although there is a character that I can only refer to as Billy from Stranger Things because he does just kind of look like him.
Yeah. And to be fair, the studio probably greenlit this because they're like, Stranger Things like?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I did really, really like it. It's just that ending did end up bothering me. And I think that's what caused it to get knocked out by the other two.
I get it.
And as I said, the newness of the other two, where Black Phone was much earlier in the year.
Yes.
All right.
Back to worst.
Number 3 worst. I thought this would be on both of our lists. But you already said that it's not on yours.
Mm-mm.
Black Adam.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No.
It almost made it to disappointed.
It didn't make any of my list, actually.
Because I want The Rock to be in just like, I want The Rock to have a character that's just his own.
You want him to have a win.
If you look at, I mean, he's had lots of wins, but if you look at the 80s, Schwarzenegger has Terminator, Stallone's got Rambo and Rocky. Everyone has a thing. What's The Rock's? The Rock doesn't have, I mean, he's got screen presence. He'll sell a movie.
John Cena's younger, and now he's permanently Peacemaker.
and dude, he may
Same universe.
John Cena may end up he may end up owning that as like, I have Peacemaker. And I don't know that Black Adam would have been that for The Rock, but like, I want him to get that. And to be honest, like, I went into that movie like,
I mean, the Scorpion King easily could have been The Rock's if they had any skill.
You know, if they were smart, they would go back now and just redo the Scorpion King with him now.
Yeah.
It would do better than it did.
I think there's 5 Scorpion King movies.
I know. We've discussed it. I think it's our first episode.
It's our first real episode.
So if you want to hear my actual thoughts on it, go there.
Yeah, just go listen to that.
And of course, now with all the DC news, it looks like any chance of a Black Adam sequel is not happening. And I'm not even broken up about it now that I've had more time away. It's like, okay. And it was horribly put together. That's what hit the worst is. It was poorly put together down to the first time I've ever been like, oh, putting music in movies apparently is hard.
It is funny hearing you say this when in our episode we were like, it's okay.
And that I wanted a sequel because I did. Because there's a nugget of like, there's something good here.
Yep.
You didn't do it, but like it's in there. I see it.
My number 3 is Don't Worry, Darling.
They'll show up later.
Also, go see that episode on that one. We don't even need to talk about it because it's not worth talking about.
Really not. Other than, again, you know what I'll say is I love Florence Pugh.
I love seeing Harry Styles hit the floor.
So moving on to the disappointments then. The number 3 disappointment. This may shock listeners. The Batman.
Something's in my ass.
I didn't get to watch this one.
I like the character of Batman. I like a good dark gritty Batman.
You love Twilight.
I have no problem with Robert Pattinson. And I think he did what he was asked, and I think he did a good job of what he was asked to do. I kind of like that this
Seems to do a lot of that.
This is a movie where he's primarily Batman. Like, he's not out of the Batman suit very much in this movie.
Something's in the way.
I even like, I guess it's a remix of it.
I don't know.
It's slightly redone version of Something in the Way. Don't like that it's used twice in the film.
And the trailer.
I mean, I do really, really like the trailer. And I like its use in the trailer. And I was like,
It should be in the movie.
and when it opened with it in the movie, I'm like, okay. And
Actually,
then when it closed with it in the movie, I was like,
That's one of Don't Worry, Darling's problems too. Don't use your song in the movie.
And I like long movie. I'm okay with long movies if it warrants it. I've watched Endgame, I don't know, 8 times. And I've never felt like, man, this is long. Usually I'm like, holy shit, we're almost to the, like, I didn't mean to watch this whole movie.
I have heard this should have been 2 movies.
It kind of is 2 stories shoved together to a point where when one conflict is resolved, I actually was like, oh, okay, pretty good. Wait a minute, we still have the whole Riddler thing to deal with.
Yep.
And I had forgotten about it.
Does he know? He knows.
And also, I've watched Zack Snyder's Justice League 5 times. And that 4 hours for me, look,
I can't fathom that.
I'm not telling anybody to watch it. If you don't like it, you don't. It's totally cool. But just as a length thing, I felt it in the Batman while sitting there when I walked out with my friend.
You felt the Batman's length, huh?
All of it. I walked out with my friend and was also like, that didn't need to be that long. And I went in knowing how long it was. And I was even excited, like, a 3-hour Batman movie where he's a detective. Like, fuck yeah. And clearly 2's like, all right, you're making 7 with Batman. Great.
Yep.
Because I love 7.
As
favorite movie.
Too.
But then again, it's like, didn't need to be all this. And it's getting all this praise because it deserves some of it. But to me, it was a disappointment.
That's fair. That's really understandable too. Mine was They/Them.
They/Them. Streaming only on Peacock.
Didn't see it. I wanted
to like it, and it's just like, whatever.
I worried and wondered, like, ooh, are you pressing on a taboo line with this? Even though, whatever. But I love Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, I don't even really know what the plot of the movie is entirely.
I'll just read you the quick synopsis. A group of teenagers at an LGBTQ plus conversion camp endures psychological techniques while being stalked by a mysterious killer.
So even removing the taboo of it, you're saying it's just, it wasn't bad because it's on your disappointment list.
It's just kind of like boring.
Is Kevin Bacon the only standout thing about it? Or is he even?
Kind of half and half.
To be fair, I feel like the only reason I got any attention was like Kevin Bacon's in it. Like if they didn't have Kevin Bacon, like nobody would talk about this. Other than
for sure.
Maybe like, this seems a bit iffy to do a movie about this. Now, Nemo, we can move on.
Thank you.
To the best. I'll let you go first.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So this way you won't forget that you did it.
I can't believe I did that twice.
So your number 3 best movie of 2022.
RRR.
Kind of figured this would show up because you're watching some foreign stuff. I've heard a lot of great things about
Dude.
RRR. I'm just gonna call it RR.
It was so cool, so fun. It's
Is it what the Fast and Furious should be
what?
in regards because it's an action movie, right?
Not in that sense.
No, I mean I know it's not that, but I mean it's a Bollywood action because I've seen some clips from it, like crazy, silly, stupid stuff happens in it.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I mean is like, is this what Fast and Furious should be trying to be instead of the garbage pile that it is?
I've only watched
And maybe
the first Fast and Furious, so I don't know.
And honestly, maybe should Fast and Furious put in Bollywood dance numbers?
The best part of Eternals was a Bollywood dance number.
And I feel like I've heard where like some Bollywood people are like shocked that we're so taken with this. Where they're like, that's not even the best thing. Like we have way better than this.
Yep.
Why do you all like this one like this? Like to them, this is like, I mean, it's okay.
I don't know. It's such a fun story. Both the actors, both the main leads are so charismatic. The music is great.
Now this is also 3 hours long.
It is very long, but it's in parts, and it doesn't tell you that it's in parts. But Indian movies typically have a middle where they're like, go use the bathroom, we get some snacks, come back.
They have a James Cameron section.
Yeah, but like an actual like let's all go to the lobby kind of deal, where they'll just straight up like for India, like a movie is an all day event. It's where you take in your family. You're gonna have fun at the movies. This is definitely like such a cool movie. Even like down to the actual like segments where it's like, okay, this is the ending of this story. Time to go to the next one. It has a nice like transition that doesn't say
New
10
story
years later or something like that.
Okay.
It's just such a cool movie. The soundtrack is great. Like I can't praise the soundtrack enough.
Was this hard to place at number 3? Did this move around in the list for you?
It definitely was. And that's like what was so cool about it was just unexpected. And also the first Bollywood number that happens is like the most organic thing to happen. Like where you're like, oh no, I want you to do this.
I will say this more than anyone or any review I've read, you have made me want to see this more than any of those.
Yeah.
Because I had nothing against it. I was sure that like, not even for what it is, I'm sure that it's good. I'm sure there's a reason that
People
it's
like
its
it.
attention. I almost hate to say this, I just don't care. Like I'm not interested in seeing this story.
Now,
Your 2-minute spiel right there edged me closer to like, maybe.
there's a cool thing that happens in this one where if you watch it with subtitles, you can watch it in like an English dub, not as effective. But there are English speaking characters that have to be translated to the people that are actually completely speaking their own language. You get this mix of like, this is nice. You hardly get that feeling of like the characters don't understand each other in a lot of Hollywood movies.
Some of it is, to a movie's defense, sometimes it's just a universal thing. Like, look, just understand they're speaking a different language. But for you, it's going to be English so that
Yeah.
you don't have to reach it. We can go.
You have the British
like-
being bad guys in this one. You're like, these dirty Indians do not deserve our money, and like that kind of stuff. It's like this is nuts.
All right.
It's also kind of like an alt history story.
Not as an effective push as we're all going to the World's Fair. I'm like, yeah, I'm for sure going to watch that. But like I said, you've gotten me more interested and willing to like, all right,
Yeah.
let's check out this RR. Let's check out RR.
It's good. I'm actually gonna watch it again.
All right. My number 3 best movie is another movie that really reminded me of what a movie should just be and just be a movie. You can hate on me for it, but I guarantee you if you watch it, like there's something to it. You can hate on the lead actor, Top Gun Maverick. Just a good fucking time at the movies. And I mean, it's too late now, but like honestly, one that
It might be
warranted
still seeing in theaters.
if it
Could
is
be still
playing in the theater, in a dollar theater. I don't know if those still exist now, but
Maybe.
go see it in a theater. It is a theater worthy experience. It is a movie that not like
I unfortunately missed it.
your Marvel spectacles, which also, didn't look good on a big screen, but like this in a much more grounded. And again, it is that 80s feeling too of like, we're just making a movie because it is predictable. It is hitting when the third act starts because you're like, oh, everything's gone shit. Like,
And Tom Cruise is the final Hollywood star that still exists.
And to his credit, as crazy as he may be, and you can hate him too, because like he is responsible for giving us some of the most real action we've had in cinema for the past decade.
Absolutely.
'Cause even again, if you don't like the Mission Impossible movies, because some of them aren't great, but like again, when he's doing these stunts, you know, like he's really doing it. Kind of like part of what makes John Wick good too is like you know that they're really doing this, which you had that in the 80s because they didn't have computers to do shit. They're like,
Right.
we have to blow this car up over top of you.
I think that's why he's so adamant about being like, I want to do my own stunts.
Yeah, when we walked into Avatar, we walked into a preview that was really a behind the scenes featurette of Tom Cruise is going to take this motorcycle off this cliff. Apparently,
Twice.
I think he did. I think it was like 5 or 6 times.
Oh, okay.
Doing it, and it's just like, wow. Like, and I leaned over to you and I was like, that man's death is going to be filmed, and I'm pretty sure it's in his contract that we will be allowed to see it.
Yeah, if he dies in a movie, it's going to be in the movie.
But Top Gun, it is fun, and honestly, it replaces the original Top Gun because it hits the same beats, and it's just a better movie. And when you know like that's not a cockpit prop in front of a blue screen, it's like no,
That's him.
they made all of the actors had to go in those jets. They had to run their own cameras.
Incredible. Like just from a filmmaking standpoint, just like wow.
And some of it you may lose it because your mind will just like, oh, it's CG or whatever. But like remind yourself, like, no, it's for real. They're really sitting in there doing this.
The thing that I heard about it,
I mean, they're not flying the jets. There's a pilot behind them flying the jet, but
like a Baby Driver.
yeah.
But like
Yeah, another great example too of like that part of why that movie works.
yeah. That's one I do truly regret not seeing.
And it was when I wasn't excited. You know what? Maybe it was my surprise because I wasn't excited to see it. I thought it would be, even for the real stunts of it, it's like, this is going to be fucking propaganda. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Navy definitely set up recruitment tables.
Yes.
But as I was sitting there, I was just like, wow, this is just fun. Like,
it's just a movie.
They're not trying to like do anything else other than like, do you want to be entertained for 2 hours?
I could see how you say that's like the black phone for me, especially like that.
And I'll be interested when you see it, like seeing it at home. I don't know that it loses anything from that.
Right.
Because I still think it's just going to be a fun movie, but does it deserve some of the praise and all the money it got? Maybe not. But I think that speaks to the fact that people do just want to like, we just want to see a movie.
But also,
and the fact that it ran for like 6 months.
I think it really just now left
granted,
theaters.
They re-released it, but like it wasn't some grand re-release. It was like, fuck it, you apparently still want to see this, so
keep it in.
So yeah, my number 3 was Top Gun.
Awesome.
Maverick, to be specific. Top Gun Maverick.
All
right. So now we're in the top, or in some cases, the bottom 2 selections, starting with the worst. Number 2 movie of the year for me. Oh, wait, I just went. You should go.
Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore.
I, of course, did not see this because I haven't seen any of them, and I have a specific affinity for the Wizarding World. I do love Mads Mikkelsen, and I kind of, if they keep making these Fantastic Beasts movies, they just continue to cast Grindelwald as a different actor every time.
Yep. This movie just sucks. I don't even want to talk about it. It just sucks.
I want to ask you this, because I know the first one is based off of a barely textbook thing that she wrote.
Same deal.
And I think that kind of worked, but I feel like they then pigeonholed themselves to this Fantastic Beast setup, even though the story they really wanted to tell is
you didn't have
World War I
Beasts.
Wizard War and Dumbledore and his bee.
This is a Hobbit.
Do you feel like they're being forced? Like, we got to shove this fucking Newt guy in here somehow because we got to call this Fantastic Beasts.
Yep, it absolutely was. Also, the ending is just like so laughably stupid.
I don't think it'll make these any better, but they should have just, from the second one, what was it? Was the Crimes of Grindelwald?
Yeah.
Should have just called it that. And not even really worried about Newt. Like, if he shows up or if those characters show up. But like, have Fantastic Beasts just be its own standalone in-between series movies.
Yep. There's no need for all this.
Again, I don't know that it really helped these, but I don't think it would have hurt to have done that.
It just
and JK is
really bad.
Right? She's writing the screenplays for these, yes?
Probably.
So they're probably done at this point.
This
one didn't do well.
Well, I mean, the
And
HBO
also-
guys like, we want to do more Harry Potter.
But he specifically said Harry Potter, which
Mhm.
makes me think like we can abandon this Fantastic Beast thing.
And just do Harry Potter.
We'll do, what was the fucking play? The Golden Child?
I really hope not.
Would you want them to come with something original?
I just don't want them to do anything.
All right, so that was your number 2. Harry Potter and the Fantastic Beasts of Dumbledore's Butt.
Dumbledore's army.
My number 2, worst movie of the year. Briefly debated if it should go in the worst, and then was like, no, because this is a bad movie. Halloween Ends. I am not a big Michael Myers fan. I don't call it a reboot, the requel, whatever. 2018's Halloween made me a Michael Myers fan. I really enjoyed that movie. And it made me look back at the history of Michael Myers and be like, you know what? This is kind of a dope killer. I even like the ideas like, is he mystical and magical?
Yeah.
Is he not mystical and magical? It's cool. And again, that the original is a simple premise. And it's kind of weird too. What other franchise has 3 different timelines
Yeah.
in its sequels where it's like, okay, these ignore this one now.
It's like a
4,
Zelda.
5, and 6
It's like a Zelda timeline.
are about a cult that controls Michael Myers. Number 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers. So it's an interesting franchise in general, but that one made me really. I'll be honest too. I think part of it was the fucking music in the movie kicked ass.
In the
John-
2018 one?
Yeah, and honestly, even in the other 2, which are bad, Halloween Kills and Ends, the music still fucking slays. Carpenter
Okay.
is kind of what makes it. And there's bits in Halloween Kills that I kind of enjoy. Like some of the deaths are cool, but like the movie's dumb. But
Very dumb.
I gave it a pass. Was like, okay, this is a bridge film. For whatever reason, you decided to make a trilogy, and so you just kind of like had to stretch out a second movie that kind of like spoiler alert, Avatar: Way of Water accomplished nothing. So we get to the third one, and like, all right, now it's the end. And Halloween Ends has almost all to do with Michael Myers. He's
Brilliant
in it
movie.
for about 12 minutes. The concept of the story is not bad, but again, handled terribly. The ending fight's pretty cool. The ending is symbolically nice, I guess. It would have been better if, again, the lead up was Michael Myers doing shit.
Exactly.
And my biggest thing is like, I don't care if I spoil this because it's terrible. At this point, Laurie's like cool and trying to like live a normal life and she's moved into whatever. Would you just show me was a woman who for 40 years was so traumatized she prepared for the night this dude came home, thought she killed him, knows that she didn't. Her daughter died by him. And then 5 years later, she's just like, I'm going to forget about it and I'm going to be happy. And also, I mean, the town didn't forget. The town got fucked up. But also, you all didn't find him or catch him. So you know that he is out there and you're
Right.
just not somehow scouring everywhere every day to find what may be a demon for all you fucking know.
But also maybe just don't celebrate Halloween.
I don't remember if oh no, they do. That's because I'll give them this. The opening of Halloween Ends. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's fucking hilarious
So-
when the kid falls
So
downstairs.
okay, this made my list. I didn't make any of my list except for I hate Wilhelm screams. It has the best Wilhelm scream. And the beginning when the kid falls is a pitched up Wilhelm scream.
It is maybe, and they have to have known like this is going to be funny, right? Like I
Yeah,
know
they
it's
use a
terrible because
Wilhelm
it's a child's
scream.
death, but like the way that they frame his body breaking when it hits the floor, like everyone's going to laugh at this, right?
Like the fucking dude just like Fusro daws the door and just launches it. How hard did he kick it to launch the kid up these stairs? The stairs didn't even break. He
But also-
flipped over it.
As a plot fallacy, you're right too. Of like even 5 years later, why would you all be celebrating Halloween, let alone leave your house to go celebrate Halloween when he is still out there?
Like
You
what?
didn't find him. You didn't kill him. He butchered half the town the night he came back this time. Like, no fucking way. Every one of you is locking your doors, maybe even installed a panic room and like, it's like the fucking Purge. It should be the Purge. Haddonfield should be the Purge on Halloween night.
We should have Halloween and a Home Alone crossover.
And I'm not even talking about the weird romance between the granddaughter and our new killer boy that doesn't make any sense, which seems to take place over about 2 days, and she's ready to Bonnie and Clyde run off with this
Dude,
Who-
that's her fault.
who also, I know you're traumatized, but like there's something clearly wrong with him. And with what you've gone through, there's no way that you
No.
would just be cool with this. So again,
Terrible movie.
there are some fun deaths in Halloween Ends, and the last 10 minutes is also fun. I almost wanted to give myself a challenge of like, can I re-edit Halloween Kills and Ends into one movie and make a good ending sequel?
Probably not.
Probably not, because there'd be too many hanging plot threads I wouldn't be able to control. But man, what a bummer. I actually bought Peacock because I was like, I'm not going to go to the theater seats because I don't trust it. And also, like, the ticket price would be the same as paying for Peacock. Was I glad that I did that? And I almost want to applaud David Gordon Green for like, you chose purposely to do something entirely different and not what anyone thought.
Right.
So there is an applause to be had there of like, nice, bad idea, and you didn't do it well. But cool, you tried something different with the Halloween series. And again, I really do like admire, like, you didn't just do the same fucking thing. It kind of like, it's what everybody wanted with this one at this point. Because this is the end.
It really is a shame.
But again, I'll give it up to that ending fight. I like that ending fight.
I just hate to see horror fans, especially those types of horror fans, disappointed so badly.
And the weird thing too is as I rewatch it in my head right now, I'm like, there's a way you still could have done the stupid shit you did in this and still made this about Michael and actually set up a sequel where new killer boy did get infected by Michael or Michael's evil.
Right.
And after all the stuff with Laurie in the fight and they grind Michael up, spoiler alert, they grind Michael up. Which I also kind of like making it clear, like, he ain't coming back. Like, even if we did this to Jason, it'd be the same thing. Like, he ain't coming back from this either. And have the killer boy pick up the mask and be like, oh, evil is like reborn or finally. But it just, yeah, it was a real letdown and like sloppily plotted.
So disappointing on that one. So I guess we're going to go over to disappointments now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so bummed out now talking about number 2.
Mine was Doctor Strange.
We finally matched. It's also my number 2 disappointment.
Nice.
And I almost thought about like, it didn't ever enter into worse because like, it's not bad.
No.
But I expected and wanted something more and better from this.
I wanted more multiverse in my multiverse of madness.
And I kind of wanted more Sam Raimi.
That too.
I mean, I guess in a way we got Spider-Man level Sam Raimi, but I don't know. I wanted more evil. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely like, this is a very Sam Raimi thing right here.
I just wanted more.
But I feel like the movie stands on its cameos. And for me, the standout was like the death scene of the Illuminati was like, oh, this is surprisingly violent for a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I like that. I wanted more multiverse.
Yeah. Yeah. Just one. Just go to one other multiverse.
I think they went to 2.
Or, I don't know, have the flipping out scene be slightly slower so I can look at more stuff like, oh, neat.
Like naming your movie Multiverse of Madness and then not doing anything with it is like, why?
And this is a minor nitpick, but it bothers me that it's not about him that he's not in it. But it bothers me that she never mentions Vision. And I'm talking about Wanda.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, I know you miss your kids, but like, you miss Vision too, right?
That's like your driving point.
I assume maybe in one universe, he's also not dead. Actually, he's not dead in your universe. I mean, I know she doesn't know that, but yeah, overall, it's like I wanted more Sam Raimi. I wanted more multiverse. And also, I think I wanted more consequence to
That's fair.
like to the universe, to the MCU. And I don't feel like that happened.
It really doesn't. Like,
You know what I've noticed? All of this phase 4, every ending, every tag scene is literally introducing a new character that's a deep cut.
Yep.
Charlize Theron in
It sure
this
is.
one. I guess Black Panther doesn't do it because Black Panther was its own thing.
it still kind of does.
Eternals did it with the Harry Styles character.
Ugh.
Thor did it with Hercules.
hmm
So every one of them. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it's like I noticed. Oh, these are all doing character setups but I also don't think like character steps you're necessarily going to follow through with. You're just like, in case we decide to, we've now introduced that Hercules exists. And it's the guy from Ted Lasso.
Whatever. But yeah, that's a very good number 2 disappointment. It wasn't bad and it wasn't good.
It's a real number 2. It's the only MCU movie that I've rewatched this year. I watched it again when it showed up in Disney Plus.
Hey, you know what? I did too.
Partially to see like, did you guys go back and touch up some of these effects this time? It doesn't appear that they did.
They did not.
They did in Thor. They for sure tried to fix some stuff in Thor. Still didn't look good.
No, might have made it worse.
But you did something new with it. All right. Number 2 best movie. I wonder if we're gonna match on this.
We might. This was tough. This was very tough.
Number 1 and number 2 weren't tough for me.
Barbarian.
Barbarian is my number 2 as well.
Hell yeah.
This is perfectly natural.
Just go watch our video on it. I don't want to even talk about it. Just go watch our video.
Nope, it's just great. And if you don't know anything about it, if you haven't seen it, do not watch anything about it. Just go to HBO Max right now.
Go watch it.
And watch it. Or if it's available to buy on Blu-ray,
do that
buy
too.
it.
But it was a very hard choice. I will say that this spot almost went to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Also, fantastic foreign movie.
We'll talk about that movie. Actually, we can talk about it right now. It didn't make my cut of top 5. It was the one that fought a bunch of titles.
Yep.
I guess you don't say it's the number 1 runner-up where it's like,
yeah, all my runner-ups are close for number 1.
this is good. I just have the
1 and
issue
2.
with Everything Everywhere All at Once that it's just a minor bit too long at the end.
I can understand it, but I didn't mind it.
And I'm sure when I rewatch it, I probably won't mind it, but I'll still maybe see like you could tighten up a little bit. But overall, like what a creative, different, fun movie.
I will say it's the first time that a movie has actually given me chills watching a scene.
Really?
Like a long time.
Was it the talking rock scene?
Oh yeah, dude.
You
No,
put Google is on something and I just get the chills.
It was specifically when it shows her face and it's going through all the multiverses and it just gets faster and faster.
And on the note, to tie into our number 2 disappointment, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a much better multiverse movie than Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness.
Absolutely.
Maybe unlucky that it came out this same year.
It really is.
All right. Number 1.
Worst.
This is going to be a movie. I know you haven't seen it. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because it doesn't even deserve it. Ambulance.
I'm going to get you back home, little brother. I'm going to get everybody home.
I had to make sure it came out this year. Movie I didn't necessarily have high hopes for, but like Michael Bay can do good action. The trailer looked good. This actually ties in with what I said about Don't Worry, Darling. Ambulance is the other prime example of just watch the trailer.
It's the trailer is long as fuck.
And it's better than the movie will be. Also, Ambulance is a movie that proved to me, turns out drone shots are hard, and I really don't like it when you zoom drones around. It's not impressive.
It's not fun.
An Ambulance is maybe the worst of every idea Michael Bay has. Every terrible instinct he has as a director is in Ambulance.
I've heard that too.
And what a waste of a good cast. And generally interesting premise, which is a remake of, I think, a French film. That part doesn't matter. It's just terrible. And this was a movie I rented from Redbox and was like, I feel gypped.
Wait, Redbox still exists?
Mm-hmm.
Learned something new today.
They're not as prevalent as they were.
My number 1 was really hard to pick.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Is it Morbin time?
I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. Morbius was the best movie of the year. That's my number 1.
I mean, it did create the biggest meme of the year and got to neg the studio into re-releasing a movie.
No, seriously, I did watch Morbius and it was close to being my number 1 worst. It's my number 1 disappointment because I wanted Morbius to be good.
Fair enough.
The second trailer they put out actually got me.
You mean the one that's also filled with lies of stuff that's not in the fucking movie?
Yep. And it uses a great song.
But I didn't have that same
feeling. Vampire
song.
That
is an accurate depiction of disappointment and like I didn't want Morbius to fail, but I also knew like from trailer ones, like they didn't get it.
No. I like vampire movies. I would have liked to seen a different take on a vampire movie. And it was just like, you know what? This is just nothing. Also, the after credits is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
I think Morbius will be a movie that is studied in film school.
Just like
from its marketing
of how wrong
and
everything went wrong.
And you've never seen, other than Fan Four Stick, Josh Trank's Fantastic Four, for those who don't know, you've never seen more obvious reshoots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's specifically the end credit scene you're talking about. And it's just like, wow, did you guys even try to make this work or make sense? Or you're just like,
at all.
Okay. We paid Michael Keaton $100,000 to come record 3 fucking lines.
There's something to do with Spider-Man.
And it may live on as a meme forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that you got Jared Leto to even say it's Morbin time.
You're right.
And again, you literally got a studio to misunderstand
Jared Leto, the egotistical maniac.
Like he knew it was a joke, but Sony was like, "Oh, I think people like this. We should put it back out."
Nuts. Meanwhile, the Minions is slaying at the same time with people ironically seeing it on purpose.
Was that your number one worst movie?
No. That was my number one disappointment.
No, I thought Minions was your worst movie.
Oh, no, it's a decent movie. It didn't make any of my list because I don't care about Minions, but it wasn't a bad movie.
All right, so I generally don't know. Because you've already said, "Don't worry, darling."
I did something this weekend.
Oh, Moonfall.
No, it wasn't Moonfall. Something I haven't told you about.
Well, by the way, everybody, you should know Nemo did watch Moonfall voluntarily.
It was in the top running. It's on my list of worst movies. The other runner-ups are Firestarter and Jeepers Creepers 3.
One, didn't watch either of those, and two, not going to.
Right.
Even the original Firestarter is not good.
No.
But now it looks great. Maybe that was the point of this remake. Like, we're going to make this old movie look amazing.
Make the other one look good. It was Disney's Pinocchio.
You did all that in one day?
Fair enough. Well, now wait, you've never seen the original Pinocchio, right?
I have now.
Did you watch that one first?
I did.
Okay, so you watched was it 60s?
40s
classic children's retelling of Pinocchio, because it turns out the story of Pinocchio has been told numerous times. And then you watched Disney's live action remake of it
immediately afterwards.
And I assume you agree with everybody else in the world where they're just like, what the fuck is this?
I couldn't understand what Tom. Oh my God, my voice is going out. Okay. I couldn't understand a word that Tom Hanks was saying. I sound like Aquafina right now.
Oh man, we got Aquafina in the studio, y'all. Probably one of the only voice actors not in Pinocchio.
Hey guys.
Of course, I didn't see it because I don't care about Disney movies, and I don't want to support their live action remakes, especially if they're not doing anything fun with it. And this was one where they even rounded off the edges. Like, you're not gonna have them drink beer or smoke. Like, I get.
Yeah, this is so weird.
And the Pinocchio doll looks like the computer stopped rendering it.
It does. You can't understand what Tom Hanks is. Oh my God, I think my voice is gone.
Is there an AI system that can do Nemo's voice to finish this podcast?
Oh my God, I cannot believe this happened.
Take your time.
Couldn't understand Tom Hanks. Oh my fucking God. Is this it?
I mean, if you want to go back in and like re-edit, you're talking about Pinocchio later on.
I might. Okay, I'm just gonna say it and I'll come in and re-record it.
I can't understand Tom Hanks as Geppetto. His accent was horrible. Pinocchio looked terrible, and Jiminy Cricket looked and sounded horrifying.
This is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, by the way, doing a voice. We'll give him that because it doesn't sound like him.
It's awful. They added a new character that makes no sense. She actually takes the place of the Blue Fairy. The donkey ears and the tail are completely wooden.
You're also forgetting the blatant Disney inserting their own properties into the cuckoo clocks.
You know what? That entire part, I was like, fuck off. I don't even give a shit anymore.
That's the opening.
Yep, I was already out.
The fox and cat characters were animated by furry artists for sure. It had to be a different studio that animated those. They made Monstro into a giant tentacle monster, and Pinocchio does not turn into a real boy at the end of the movie.
What? I didn't know that. That's the whole point of the story.
Yeah, him, Tom Hanks, they walk into the sunset holding hands while Jiminy Cricket says, "All you need is a good moral compass."
He's gonna f that puppet.
Yeah, it's really weird.
All right. Seeing that this is one of those movies, as an example, one, like I said, one, I don't care about Disney. I don't like the live action remakes. But also I could tell, like, I don't think this will be good and I don't want to watch it. So I won't.
I thought that I should.
I like that you did watch the original first. What did
Yes.
you think of the original?
We'll get to it.
Wow, is this your best movie of the year? 1945's Pinocchio.
Perhaps.
Okay, so my number one disappointment. Don't worry, darling. Again, we don't need to say much about it because we have a whole podcast, but basically, like, a lot of potential, actually well shot,
Fumbled it.
but amounts to literally nothing, but carried on the shoulders of Florence Pugh,
For sure.
and then fumbled by Harry Styles on Living Wild.
Yep.
Moving on. Number one, best movie of 2022.
Do you have any runner-ups you would like to mention first?
Yeah, so I already mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once. Nope. Which
Also, one of my runner-ups.
I didn't love walking out of the theater, but it's on me because it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't a horror movie, when it's not that movie's fault. But it is really good, and the more I've thought about it, and I want to rewatch it, and I think I will enjoy it much more the second time, just understanding, one, the themes Jordan Peele was going for, and also that, like, it's not a horror movie. Although it does have one of the most horrific things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I'd be afraid of sheets.
Here we are.
Also made me realize, like, I think we could do a live action Neon Genesis Evangelion. And also, you should let Jordan Peele fucking make Akira.
That'd be cool.
Those are my, and Black Phone, as I mentioned, is a runner-up.
My runner-ups also has Nope as well as Pearl and X.
Those are going to be in my, I didn't get to them. Probably would, actually, probably wouldn't even be runners-up. Pearl and or X probably would be on the top 5 if I had watched them.
Maybe, I don't know. You might feel differently about these. I'm actually looking forward to Maxine. I think it's in March.
It would have been great if you could have gotten all 3 out in the year.
Yeah, I think he really wanted to.
Is it
But-
Maxine with 3 X's?
Yes.
Nice. You know why it's called that? Because they wouldn't let him fucking call a movie Triple X. And also, it would tie in, like, oh, it'd be confused with Vin Diesel.
And also, thematically, it's just a very good choice. Some people liked X more than Pearl. I think I liked Pearl more. Also, Pearl has one of the most batshit credits for any movie I've ever seen. I've never seen something do something like that with its credits. Shout out to Mia Goth, she really killed it.
Mia Goth, who, like Jenna Ortega, if you look at her, she's had a very sudden and full career.
Very fitting that they are both in the first one.
And yeah, so Jenna Ortega.
Yep.
But Mia Goth, she's got this very unique look.
She's like Whoopi Goldberg. She ain't got no eyebrows.
It's that, and I think it's like the freckles and just, I mean, some of it is the photography on the poster of X, but like her face is just so rounded.
She has a very innocent look.
Yes, but also like dead eyes. But big eyes,
Yes.
but dead inside. And her name's Mia Goth. Sounds like she should be fronting a fucking emo new wave band.
Kid Cudi is in X, and he also kills it. A lot of the celebrity cameo things in movies can suck, but he really fell into playing a character so easily that I didn't even notice that he was a celebrity.
I think, again, when you have a really good director, I think you can almost give them anybody. I'm not discounting Kid Cudi's acting, but like, I fucking hate Tyler Perry, and I don't think he's good. But in Gone Girl, dude is fucking amazing. Like, actually one of my favorite characters. And it's just like, oh, I guess if a good director's in charge, like, you can get a performance out of anybody.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I thought it was weird when David Fincher cast Tyler Perry's like, what the fuck? Like, were you forced to do this?
That's really funny, though.
Any other runners up for you? I wonder if her number one will be the same.
Morbius. I think I know what your number one was, but it was pretty close to being a top film for me. It's Prey.
So that's a runner up for you?
Yep.
But it's the runner up that's cuddled up to number one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, spoiler alert, my number one is Prey.
Yes, it is.
Whatever did this, I can kill it.
Or what's your, I don't know what yours is. I have no idea.
Talk about Prey.
Look, I don't want to say too much about it because maybe we'll do a Predator cast and
We
talk
should.
about it. And it would have been fun if Trachtenberg had gotten to release the movie without everyone knowing it was a Predator movie, which was his intention. And then just revealed, like, holy shit, is that the Predator? But what a one great sequel, especially after we got a terrible fucking non-movie in The Predator,
I won't ever shut up about how awful that movie is.
but also a cool concept of, which I've wanted them to do for a long time, of take the Predator to a different time period.
Which is funny because you hate period pieces.
I do. But also, super mad props to Amber Mid Thunder. A really amazing performance, and again, a really great screen presence.
She's awesome.
To where like I don't want them to do a sequel in that time period again. I like them to take Predator to another time period.
Go somewhere else.
But part of me is like, is there a way that you can keep Amber Mid Thunder though? Because like,
do some time travel.
She was great. I love this, and every setup and the fact that the character, spoiler, she beats Predator, but she beats it.
They always do.
Basically, her mind. And if you watch the movie, you see her like learning and observing certain things, and it all comes to fruition.
Also comparable to the Black Phone.
You know, if you look at the original Predator, yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger's a big guy. He doesn't beat the Predator by muscle. He beats him by outthinking it. And then
kind of intimidating it.
I really will praise the visual effects of Prey. Some of them, yes, are a little clear, like that's clearly CGI, but I think he made this movie for $65 million. And there's other shots where the CGI is really great. And I think, again, he had to pick and choose where is it important for me to have good work in CGI. The redesign of the Predator was cool. The whole concept was really fun and well executed. And again, almost in a way of like, this is a film that should have gone to theaters.
It absolutely should have.
And I think it would have done well.
That's nuts that the Predator went to theaters.
And this is another one, honestly, that did feel like, oh, this is just a good movie. Granted, yes, it's in a franchise and it does hint at stuff that they could do later, but it still also feels
right.
Like he just wanted to make a good movie about one of the coolest 80s creatures we've been given, and he did it.
And very well done, too.
It's a bummer that it's streaming because I'll never be able to own it.
Hopefully they'll release it as part of a collection.
If they ever fucking put another Predator collection in Prey, like I will buy a collection if that's the only way I can get Prey. I will suffer through like, oh, I also own the Predator, I guess.
Right, I feel the same way.
Mild debate between 1 and 2, between Prey and Barbarian, but overall, like Prey was just so fun, and I am a slut for the Predator. I love the Predator, so to get a good one, yeah, I was there.
I'm really happy that it was good.
And something to tie into something you mentioned earlier about like subtitles and dialogue. I like the fact that, yeah, they didn't react the scenes, but that he went back in and had them redub their scenes in actual Comanche language.
It's so cool.
There's no reason for him to have to do that.
At all.
Did it. But also,
how respectful.
That the opening of the movie, they are speaking Comanche, or she is, and then she slips into English, which is to tell us, the audience, they are speaking Comanche, you are hearing English.
Do that more.
Which is a clever way to undo what you were complaining about of like, okay, well now I understand. I am just hearing this so I can understand what they're saying.
That's what I liked about RRR is that you can understand the villains, but not the heroes. It's like the opposite of Prey. My number 1.
Have we mentioned it already?
No.
Okay.
This was completely out of the blue.
Sort of got, if you say Moonfall, I'm going to leave.
Del Toro's Pinocchio.
Life is such a wonderful gift.
It's also on my didn't get to list.
Holy.
I will note, there was a third Pinocchio movie that came out this year.
That one, Pauly Shore.
But I've heard such good things about the storytelling in this Pinocchio that it's grim and dark.
It's grim and dark, but not like a Grimm's fairy tale dark.
But also the stop motion animation is just...
It's beautiful, and it makes the original 1940s film look like dog shit.
Well, I mean, fair.
But that's the thing is...
It's a 60-year-old animated movie.
But that is Disney. Pinocchio is Disney without Mickey. The opening of all movies is Wish Upon a Star. That's why the remake was my number 1 worst, because they ruined their own masterpiece. They should feel ashamed. They made their remake because they were mad that Del Toro was making one.
Because they don't actually own Pinocchio.
He made such an enthralling story. It goes in so many insane directions, but you know what? Something that's actually looked over in the original film was the nose growing with lies. Del Toro uses it constantly. The nose is a real plot point.
And I believe I've heard that this is closer to the original I mean, he definitely takes his own
Ah.
thing, but I like in spirit or theme, this is closer to the original.
Debatable.
Also, maybe it's unclear how that even works because, like, again, this Pinocchio story has been told so many times. I
This
had
is
no idea it had been told so many times.
This is truly the most original Pinocchio story that there is.
I think I'm going to be bummed when I see it in regards of I'll probably also be like, wish I could own this because I don't want to always have Netflix.
That's fair.
But to be fair, sometimes Netflix stuff does make it out.
Yeah.
So, and maybe with this Del Toro behind it too, like maybe it was even in his deal of like, you will release this eventually.
Without spoiling anything, this could totally be part of Pan's Labyrinth's universe. It could have been a live action movie, but it made it even better that it wasn't. Breathtaking all the way throughout. There's no Pleasure Island, there's no fox, no cat, no fish, no cutesy bull.
Monstro in it.
Yes, and Monstro is horrifying.
And strangely, not a tentacle monster in this one.
He's not completely a whale, he's more Lovecraftian.
Well, to be fair, I think even in the original cartoon,
he's a whale.
Like they definitely draw him as a whale, but I don't think Monstro is supposed to be. I think even in the actual story,
it's like a Leviathan.
It is just a sea monster, and maybe the animator's like, well, I can draw a whale, so
he's still technically whale-like, but it's weird. Jiminy Cricket is awesome. He has a totally different journey and different character type.
There's no Chris Pine joke?
No, thankfully.
I wonder if they had to ask Chris Pine if they could make that joke.
Probably. There's a ton of original characters, and it does make you feel like it's about to have the same story beats, but instantly throws you off the path. This is what I'm here for. The Blue Fairy very much looks like a biblical angel, or like an eldritch gods. They have eyeballs all over them.
Maybe after the critical success this is already getting, because it came out like what, Christmas?
December.
And I know I've read, I think I sent you, where Del Toro's again trying to do At the Mountains of Madness.
Yep.
Maybe it will be Netflix. Maybe Netflix will be like, okay.
If this is so successful, then absolutely.
And I never thought about this. Like, maybe I want to see a stop motion Lovecraft movie.
As of right now, this might be the closest thing you'll get.
Because that would give it a certain creepy vibe that nothing in live action could match.
Dude, even the songs in the film are memorable.
So did you have just a Pinocchio day?
Yeah, it was a whole night. Luckily, the 40s Pinocchio is only like 50 minutes long.
Yep. Feature-length movies were a different thing back then.
I understand the significance of the original 40s film, but having the rare privilege of seeing this one first makes it that much better.
I think it's a classic because of the moral story. And I mean, I think that has nothing to do with Disney. I think that was there in the actual text. For that time, that was a human being did this?
It deserves its respect.
Maybe 60 years from now, people watch Chainsaw Man and be like, wow, this is a classic. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say AI.
You know, I did leave out because I didn't get to see it, but I wanted to. And I think it would have made my top 5. And mentioning stop motion, Phil Tippett's Mad God.
It almost made my top films because it's so fascinating, but it doesn't exactly have a narrative story. It's more so a visual experience.
And to see, I mean, a master of stop motion, who is also the one who quoted in Jurassic Park, realizing like, we're out of a job.
Yep.
To see him do what is actually a labor of love, just because this is what he likes to do. And also, I know it's a horror movie, so.
If you haven't watched it, it kind of explains in the beginning with a quote from the Bible. It takes the story of the Tower of Babel, and instead of splitting humanity, God punishes them forever, becoming a mad god.
Fair enough.
If you have that in mind when you watch it, it makes a lot more sense.
2 other movies I missed that I wanted to see were The Northman.
Same.
And The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. The Nicolas Cage is just going to be a Nicolas Cage movie.
I didn't get to watch that one either.
I don't know if it's good or not, but the concept alone is like, I'm in.
A few surprises for me were Sonic 2.
You like the first one, though.
I did, but this one still surprised me.
So are you ready for Shadow the Hedgehog?
Absolutely.
Can they complete the trifecta, the trilogy?
I hope. Turning Red, surprisingly liked that one a lot. Barbarian, I feel like I need to add it here.
Because you did think you would hate it.
Yep.
And openly mocked it.
And Avatar Way of Water. It really surprised me.
I didn't have surprises, but now I guess if you say it.
You can hear all about that in our next episode.
Yeah, because maybe I wasn't surprised. Giving you all plenty of time to watch it because I'm not going to not spoil stuff when I talk about it.
Yep, so I guess to close this one off, want to quickly mention some films or shows that are coming in 2023 that you're looking forward to?
So my number 1 is John Wick 4. I don't feel like I need to say anything about it. If you've seen John Wick, you know why. If you haven't seen John Wick, any of them, I would recommend watching them. Evil Dead Rise, because I love the Evil Dead franchise.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
And I'm curious to see what a new and different take on that would be. Spider-Verse 2, because God, that was a surprise for me, the first one. Not just that it was good, but also like all these different animation styles being shoved together and somehow working, and also like, wow. Guardians Volume 3.
Also on my list.
A show I'm excited to see is The Last of Us. I notoriously hate the video game. It's not a bad game. I think it's just a bland, boring game. So I don't think they wanted to make a game. I think they wanted to make a movie. So cool, you're making a TV show. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I don't like all the Mission Impossibles, but the last one I really did enjoy. And yeah, like I said, real action, I'm in. Dune 2, Flashpoint, if for anything, just to see like what it is at this point. And again, no matter good or bad, Flashpoint is also going to be a movie that's going to be studied in film school eventually. Mario, and even though I do not love this director, he is a good director, and I'm interested to see what he does next. Disappointment Boulevard from Ari Aster. And I'm not looking forward to these, but in doing research for this, I found this out and was shocked. There's a Hunger Games prequel that is coming out.
What?
About young President Snow.
Shut up.
For real. And there's a Willy Wonka prequel just called Wonka.
I saw that.
Starring Timothée Chalamet, who is maybe the most boring actor I've ever seen. That's it. Those are my 10 that I'm looking forward to. I'm sure there's stuff I don't even know about that's coming. But yeah.
The ones that are on my list so far are The Well, 65, Mario, and Dune. There's also Renfield. Nick Cage as a Dracula. I'm cool with that.
Oh, yeah. I am. That is going to be interesting, whatever it ends up being.
But the top two are Oppenheimer, and my number one is Barbie.
You know, I know the trailer came out for that. I haven't seen it. I am intrigued. I was intrigued at the premise when it was announced. I guess it was originally announced with Amy Schumer. When it turned into Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie and everything. And I'm surprised you're interested because like it seems like it's not going to be fourth wall breaking, but it's going to be very meta.
Watch this trailer.
So I'm intrigued, but maybe after I see this trailer, maybe I'll suddenly be like, oh, okay.
I'm really excited for this one, and it sounds bad. Margot Robbie does look great as Barbie, but the real reason I want to see it is Ken.
I was going to make a joke about like, those are Ryan Gosling's Ken.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I like Ryan Gosling. I Drive.
I do like Ryan Gosling. I'm not going to get into it, but I did not like Drive.
I love Drive.
And he's a great choice for Ken. And I've seen the screenshot of him as Ken. I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess he's always been a good looking guy. So like, yeah, dye his hair. All he had to do is dye his hair blonde. And like, we're done.
That's my most anticipated.
Is Skipper in the trailer? It's sad that I know what her fucking little sister is called.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
I think it's her little sister. It could be her cousin. I don't know the Barbie lore.
I don't either.
You know, it'd be funny if this Barbie movie works and yet they had 3 goes at a G.I. Joe movie and could not fucking figure it out.
Poor Rock.
I mean, he almost saved it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that was 2022. Our best or worst or most disappointing. I would love for Nemo to read your comments and tell me what people said because I don't read the comments unless I'm lonely.
Well, this year's movies and shows could warrant hours upon hours of talk. I'm excited to see what the new year will bring. We also started really late in the year. All the stuff that's on our list, we probably would have done episodes on.
Yep. And then this would have been a much shorter episode because we would have just said,
yep,
listen to our episode. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we will be better about that next time.
But this has been Shallow Cinema. Thank you for those of you founding listeners in our 2022 inaugural back quarter of the year. And we will see you in 2023, starting off with The Way of Water.
Here is Auld Lang Syne. I have been Nemo.
And I'm Blackjack Bauer. See you in the new year.
Catch you the next year.